First contact fallout. The grand strategem of the Meridian Imperium hummed with activity as officers and analysts moved between holographic displays. At the center of the chamber stood Grand Admiral Zorix, his scaled skin gleaming under the artificial light, 6 eyes fixed on the projected map of conquered territories spanning 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. "Another successful campaign," announced Sub-Commander Threll, her exoskeleton clicking as she approached. "The Altarian Collective has surrendered unconditionally. Their 12 worlds now belong to the Imperium." Zorix's mandibles clicked with satisfaction. "Casualties? Minimal on our side. Their resistance was ineffective. As expected. Did their archives yield anything of value?" Threll hesitated. "There was something unusual, Admiral." Another warning. Zorix's upper eyes narrowed while his lower set continued scanning the tactical displays. "About Earth?" "Yes, Admiral. The 17th we encountered from 17 different civilizations. The Altarians had an entire vault dedicated to it. Their warning was the most detailed yet." With a gesture, Zorix brought up the relevant data. The holographic projection showed a small blue-green planet orbiting an unremarkable yellow star in the unfashionable western spiral arm of the galaxy. "Approach not the blue world," Zorix read aloud. "Earth harbors that which must not be disturbed. The silent sentinels watch. Those who ignore this warning face annihilation." Dramatic, but vague. Like all the others. "What troubles me, Admiral," said Threll, "is the consistency. Species with no contact with each other, separated by thousands of light years and millennia of time, all warning about this one insignificant planet." Zorix contemplated the image of Earth rotating slowly before him. According to their intelligence, the planet was home to a relatively young spacefaring species called humans. They had established a few outposts in their solar system, but hadn't ventured much beyond. Their technology was primitive by Meridian standards: chemical rockets, basic ion drives, rudimentary energy weapons. Nothing that should concern the mightiest empire the galaxy had ever known. "Have we made direct contact with these humans?" Zorix asked. "No, Admiral. Our expansion hasn't reached their sector yet, but we've intercepted their transmissions for decades. They appear fractious, divided, technologically inconsistent." "Then why the warnings?" Zorix mused. "What could possibly make 17 advanced civilizations fear such a primitive world?" "Unknown, Admiral. But the Altarians dedicated considerable resources to monitoring Earth from a distance. They never approached closer than the outer edge of the system." Zorix made his decision. "Dispatch Scout Commander Vexella with 3 scout ships. Minimum presence, maximum stealth. I want observations only. No contact, no sampling, no probes. Let's see what has everyone so frightened." "Admiral," Threll objected, "the warnings were quite explicit about. The Imperium does not cower before superstition. Sub-Commander, knowledge is power, and all knowledge belongs to the Meridian Imperium. Execute my orders." 3 weeks later, Scout Commander Vexella's vessels approached the Sol system, their advanced stealth systems rendering them virtually undetectable to conventional sensors. Vexella, a veteran of countless reconnaissance missions, felt an unusual nervousness as they crossed the heliopause. "Maintain passive scans only," she instructed her crew. "We observe, we record, we retreat. No deviations from the plan." The scout ships glided silently past the gas giants. Nothing unusual appeared on their sensors, just an ordinary star system with its expected complement of planets, moons, asteroids, and comets. As they approached the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Vexella ordered a full sensor sweep of the inner system. "Commander," reported her sensor officer, "I'm detecting unusual energy patterns around Earth's moon." "Define unusual." "There? I don't know how to describe this. They don't match any known energy signature in our database. They're almost like gaps in space." Vexilla moved to the sensor station. "Show me." The display revealed a network of anomalies surrounding Earth's moon, areas where their sensors simply couldn't penetrate, as if portions of space itself were missing. Could be a sensor malfunction, suggested her second-in-command. Simultaneously on all three ships, Vexilla shook her head. Not likely. Maintain distance, but move for a visual on the Earth-Moon system. As the scout ships adjusted their position, the sensor officer suddenly straightened. Commander, multiple objects approaching from the lunar surface. Configuration unknown. They're not registering properly on our sensors. Visual only. The view screen activated, showing what appeared to be sleek, silvery objects moving with impossible speed and precision toward their position. Stealth has been compromised, Vexilla realized. Evasive maneuvers. Prepare for emergency jump. But before her crew could respond, all systems on all three scout ships simultaneously shut down. Displays went dark. Engines fell silent. Life support systems failed. The only technology still functioning was the emergency backup system powering the main view screen. A face appeared, unmistakably human, with dark eyes that seemed to look directly into Vexilla's soul. Meridian vessels, the human said calmly, you have entered protected space despite the warnings left by those who came before you. Why? Vexilla fought to maintain her composure. How are you doing this? Our stealth technology is undetectable. The human's expression didn't change. Your technology is based on principles you only partially understand. We see you. We have always seen you. We meant no harm, Vexilla said. We were only observing. Observation is the first step toward conquest for the Meridian Imperium, the human replied. We know your history. We know your intentions. Vexilla felt a chill run down her spine. How could you possibly? Your ships will be returned to the edge of this system with a message for your Grand Admiral Zorix. Earth is not to be approached. This system is forbidden to the Imperium. This is your only warning. The transmission ended. Before Vexilla could process what had happened, a sensation like being turned inside out washed over her and her crew. When it passed, the stars outside had changed position. Somehow, instantly, the three scout ships had been transported back to the outer edge of the Sol system. Systems began to power up again, life support restored. As the ship's computers came back online, Vexilla discovered that all their sensor data had been wiped clean, except for the recording of the human's warning. Set course for Imperial space, she ordered, her voice unsteady. Maximum speed. In the Grand Stratagem, Grand Admiral Zorix watched Vexilla's report with increasing agitation. Impossible, he declared when the recording ended. No species possesses technology capable of what you describe. Vexilla stood at rigid attention. I report only what occurred, Admiral. All three ships experienced the same phenomena. The humans detected us despite our stealth systems, disabled our ships remotely, communicated directly through our secured systems, and transported three vessels instantaneously across several astronomical units of space. The stratagem fell silent. Such capabilities, if real, went beyond anything the Imperium had encountered in its thousands of years of expansion. They knew your name, Admiral, Vexilla added quietly. They knew details about our empire that no outsider should possess. Zorix paced the chamber, his mind racing. If what Vexilla reported was accurate, the humans possessed technology that made them an existential threat to the Imperium. But how could a species that still used chemical rockets and had barely left their own planet possess such advanced capabilities? Perhaps, ventured Sub-Commander Threll, the warnings were justified. Perhaps we should avoid this system as advised. Zorix spun toward her, eyes flashing. The Meridian Imperium does not retreat. We do not cower. If these humans possess such advanced technology, it belongs to us by right of strength. The strong rule, the weak submit. That is the way of the universe. He turned to his strategic advisors. Prepare a battle plan. I want the Fifth Fleet mobilized immediately. 500 warships, 2,000 support vessels. We will take this Earth and claim its secrets for the Imperium. Admiral, Vexala objected. With respect, we don't understand what we're facing. The warnings from 17 civilizations were meant to keep us away from power. Zorix cut her off. Think, Commander. If the humans possess such technology, why have they not expanded? Why do they hide on their little blue world, pretending to be primitive? They are either deceptive or weak-willed. Either way, they will fall before the might of the Imperium. Vexala recognized the look in her admiral's eyes. His mind was made up. The Imperium would go to war against the mysterious humans, regardless of the warnings. The Fifth Fleet will depart within 10 days, Zorix declared, and I will command it personally. Let these humans deliver their warnings to me directly. Let them face the full might of the Meridian Imperium. Then we shall see who rules and who submits. As the stratagem erupted into activity, Vexala couldn't shake the memory of those human eyes watching her. Calm, knowing, ancient somehow. For the first time in her long career serving the Imperium, she felt true fear. The warnings had been clear. The Empire had refused to listen. And now, a confrontation was inevitable. The Awakening. The Fifth Fleet of the Meridian Imperium dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system in perfect formation. 500 warships arranged in the traditional Meridian attack configuration, a three-dimensional spearhead designed to overwhelm any defense with concentrated firepower. Behind them came the support vessels carrying ground troops, atmospheric fighters, and mobile artillery platforms. The largest invasion force assembled in a century. On the bridge of the dreadnought Inexorable, Grand Admiral Zorix studied the tactical displays with satisfaction. Status report. All ships present and accounted for. Admiral, reported Fleet Commander Krull. Weapons systems optimal. Shields at maximum capacity. No sign of enemy activity. Begin advance toward the inner system, Zorix ordered. Maintain battle formation. Dispatch scout drones ahead of the fleet. The massive fleet began its steady movement toward Earth, sensors scanning for any sign of the mysterious technology that had neutralized Vexala's scout ships. Scout Commander Vexala herself stood at the rear of the bridge, her expression carefully neutral despite her misgivings about this mission. Admiral, she said quietly, approaching Zorix's command platform, I recommend we proceed with extreme caution. The humans demonstrated capabilities beyond our understanding. Zorix's mandibles clicked in irritation. Your concerns are noted, Commander. But look, he gestured at the sensor displays. Nothing. No response to our arrival. Perhaps your encounter was merely a technological trick, a desperate attempt to frighten away a superior force. The fleet passed Neptune, then Uranus. Encountering no resistance, the scout drones transmitted clear images of the outer planets and their moons. No signs of bases, defenses, or unusual activity. Perhaps the humans only monitor the inner system, suggested Sub-Commander Threll. Or perhaps, Zorix said with satisfaction, they exhausted their capabilities dealing with 3 small scout ships and have nothing left to counter a full fleet. As the Armada approached the orbit of Saturn, the sensor officer suddenly straightened. Admiral, detecting energy fluctuations from Earth's moon. Similar to the pattern Commander Vexala reported. Full alert, Zorix ordered. All ships prepare defensive systems. On the main view screen, the image of Earth appeared. A blue-white jewel against the blackness of space, its moon a pale companion. For several tense moments, nothing happened. Then, without warning, the space between the fleet and Earth seemed to ripple. What is that? Demanded Zorix. Before anyone could answer, a human face appeared on every screen throughout the fleet simultaneously. Not the same one that had confronted Vexala, but an older human with silver hair and eyes that held an unsettling depth. Meridian Fleet, the human said calmly, you were warned. Earth is forbidden to you. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences of your aggression. Zorix stepped forward. I am Grand Admiral Zorix of the Meridian Imperium. Your planet and its technology now belong to us. Surrender, and your people will be permitted to live as subjects of the Imperium." The human's expression didn't change. "You misunderstand the situation, Admiral. We are not defenseless. We are not primitive. We are not alone." "Empty threats," Zorix scoffed. "Our intelligence shows your species barely capable of reaching your own moon using chemical rockets. Whatever technology you used against our scout ships, it cannot stand against 500 warships." "Your intelligence is flawed," the human replied. "Deliberately so. For centuries, we have maintained the illusion of technological limitation to avoid unnecessary conflicts. We hoped the warnings left by those who discovered the truth would be sufficient. Clearly, they were not." The view screen split, showing images that stunned the Meridian command staff into silence. Vast underwater cities on Earth, orbital habitats hidden from external observation, bases beneath the lunar surface and throughout the solar system, installations disguised as natural formations. "This is impossible," whispered Threll. "Our surveys detected none of this." "Because we didn't wish it to be detected," the human said. "Earth has never been alone, Admiral. We are merely one part of something far greater than your empire could comprehend." The image changed again, showing what appeared to be massive structures embedded within the fabric of space itself, geometric patterns of light visible only as distortions against the starfield. "What you see are the silent sentinels," the human explained. "Ancient guardians created long before your species achieved spaceflight. Earth is their anchor point, their nexus. We are their caretakers." "Deception," Zorix declared, though uncertainty had crept into his voice. "All fleets, advance. Target Earth and its moon. Full attack pattern." The human sighed. "So be it." The transmission ended. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the sensor officer cried out, "Admiral, multiple objects departing from Earth's moon. Thousands of them." "Impossible," Zorix snarled. "Scans showed no lunar bases. They're accelerating toward us," the tactical officer reported, her voice rising in pitch. "Configuration unknown. They're not using conventional propulsion systems." Vexilla moved to the sensor station. "The same vessels that intercepted my scout ships." On the tactical display, swarms of silvery objects converged on the Meridian fleet, moving with impossible speed and precision. As they approached, something even more alarming happened. The space around them began to distort. "Energy weapons," Zorix commanded. "Destroy them before they reach our formation." The forward ships of the Meridian fleet opened fire, unleashing a barrage that should have annihilated anything in its path. The energy beams and plasma torpedoes simply vanished, disappearing into the distortions surrounding the Earth vessels. "No effect," reported the weapons officer. "They're absorbing our fire." The first wave of Earth vessels reached the outer edge of the Meridian formation. They didn't fire weapons. They didn't need to. As they passed through the fleet, ships simply ceased to exist, vanishing completely as if they had never been there. "What's happening?" Zorix demanded, watching in horror as his tactical display showed ship after ship disappearing. "They're creating localized fold space events," Vexilla realized, studying the sensor readings. "Literally removing portions of normal spacetime, along with anything inside them." "Impossible," Zorix insisted. "No technology can manipulate spacetime on that scale." Vexilla looked up from the display. "The silent sentinels," she whispered. "They're not ships or weapons. They're fragments of something far more advanced than we can comprehend." The bridge rocked as something struck the inexorable shields. Alarms blared throughout the massive dreadnought. "Shields failing," reported the defensive systems officer. "Unknown energy signature is eating through them. All ships, retreat." Zorix ordered, finally accepting the reality of their situation. "Emergency hyperspace jump." But it was too late. The Earth vessels had surrounded the fleet's core, creating a web of space-time distortions that made hyperspace translation impossible. Ship after ship vanished from tactical displays as the silent sentinels moved methodically through the Meridian formation. The main view screen activated again, showing the silver-haired human. You still have a choice, Admiral. Surrender what remains of your fleet. Agree to leave this system and never return. In exchange, we will spare your lives. Zorix's mandibles clicked rapidly in distress as he watched his mighty fleet being systematically erased from existence. 300 ships gone already, with more disappearing every moment. You can't do this, he whispered. No species could possess such power. We don't, the human replied simply. We never claimed to. The silent sentinels are not our creation. They are our allies, our protectors, ancient beyond your comprehension. Earth is their nexus point, one of many scattered throughout the galaxy. We are merely their partners. The image expanded, showing more clearly what the silent sentinels truly were, not ships at all, but fragments of crystalline technology that seemed to exist partially outside normal spacetime, glowing with inner light that hurt the eyes to look upon directly. Long ago, the human continued, when humanity first reached for the stars, we encountered them. Unlike your Imperium, we did not seek to conquer or control. We offered understanding, cooperation. They accepted. Together, we created a symbiosis. They gained perspective through our younger, more flexible minds, and we gained protection and knowledge beyond our technological capabilities. Vexilla stepped forward. The 17 warnings. They came from species who discovered this truth. Yes, the human nodded. Those who approached with peaceful intentions, who demonstrated wisdom and respect, they were shown the truth and allowed to depart with a warning to others. Those who came seeking conquest. The human's expression hardened. Well, they were not permitted to return at all. Another violent shudder ran through the inexorable as its outer hull began to disintegrate under the silent sentinel's influence. Your decision, Admiral, the human pressed. Surrender or be erased from existence. Zorix slumped in his command chair, watching as his grand fleet, the pride of the Imperium, was reduced to less than 100 ships in a matter of minutes. I surrender, he managed, his voice barely audible. The human nodded. Wise choice. All remaining Meridian vessels will be escorted to the edge of this system. You will return to your Imperium with this message. Earth and the Sol system are eternally forbidden to you. Any further incursion will result in consequences beyond this demonstration. The transmission ended. Around the surviving ships, the silent sentinels ceased their attack, but maintained position, their crystalline structures pulsing with that strange inner light. Orders, Admiral. Fleet Commander Krull asked quietly. Zorix stared at the tactical display, showing the pitiful remnants of his grand armada. Do as they say. Retreat to the system edge and prepare for return to Imperial space. As the defeated fleet limped away, Vexilla approached Zorix. Admiral, the Imperium must know the full truth of what happened here. The warnings about Earth were justified. The humans are not our enemies. They're caretakers of something far more ancient and powerful than we can comprehend. Zorix's eyes narrowed. The Imperium does not accept defeat, Commander. We will return with a larger force, with new weapons designed to counter these sentinels. With respect, Admiral, Vexilla said firmly, that would be suicide. You saw what they're capable of. The silent sentinels don't just possess advanced technology. They are advanced technology. We can't fight them any more than primitive species could fight us. As the remaining ships reached the edge of the system, they found themselves surrounded once more, not by the crystalline sentinels this time, but by vessels that were clearly of human design, though far more advanced than anything their intelligence had suggested humans possessed. The silver-haired human appeared on their screens one final time. To ensure there is no misunderstanding, he said, we are providing your vessels with complete records of what transpired here today. Share them with your Imperium. Let them see the truth of the silent sentinels and understand why Earth must remain untouched. The transmission ended, and data began flooding into the Inexorable's computers. Detailed scans of the sentinels, recordings of their attack, and historical records showing humanity's first contact with these ancient entities centuries ago. "They're giving us their secrets," Kroll asked in confusion. "No," Vexilla realized. "They're giving us a warning so detailed, so irrefutable, that even the most ambitious emperor would think twice before challenging it." 6 weeks later, in the Grand Strategium on the Meridian homeworld, silence reigned as the Imperial Council reviewed the data from the failed invasion. Grand Admiral Zorix, stripped of rank, and standing before them as a defeated commander, awaited their judgment. 412 warships lost, the Emperor finally said, his voice cold. 2,000 support vessels, nearly 1,000,000 Meridian lives. For what? The humans possess technology beyond. Zorix began. The humans possess nothing. The Emperor cut him off. They are caretakers, partners to entities that have existed in this galaxy since before our ancestors crawled from the primordial ooze of our homeworld. You ignored warnings left by 17 civilizations. You led our fleet to slaughter. The Imperium has never retreated. Zorix tried again. The Imperium has never faced extinction before, the Emperor replied. These silent sentinels could have followed our fleet home. They could have wiped out our civilization. Instead, they showed restraint, more than you did. He turned to the Council. Earth and the Sol system are henceforth declared forbidden space. No Meridian vessel will approach within 50 light years of that system. The warnings we discovered will be preserved and shared with all species under our protection. My Emperor, objected one counselor, to admit defeat. Is wisdom when the alternative is annihilation, the Emperor finished. We rule through strength, yes, but also through intelligence. Only fools fight battles they cannot win. As Zorix was led away to face punishment for his failure, Vexilla was summoned before the Emperor. Scout Commander, he acknowledged. Your warnings were ignored. Your counsel was sound. The Imperium recognizes this. Vexilla bowed. Thank you, my Emperor. There are other nexus points, according to the human data, the Emperor noted. Other anchors for these silent sentinels scattered throughout the galaxy. Yes, my Emperor. Each protected by different caretaker species, it seems. The Emperor's eyes narrowed in thought. Perhaps there is wisdom to be gained from these humans after all. Not conquest, but understanding. My Emperor. The silent sentinels chose humans as partners, not subjects. They share power rather than imposing it. Perhaps there is something to learn from this approach. Vexilla felt a spark of hope. The humans indicated they would be open to communication, so long as we respected their boundaries. Then that is where we shall begin, the Emperor decided. Not with warships, but with diplomats. The Meridian Imperium has conquered thousands of worlds. Perhaps it is time we learn to coexist with those we cannot conquer. As Vexilla left the strategium, she looked up at the stars visible through the great crystal dome overhead. Somewhere out there, Earth continued its quiet orbit around its yellow star, protected by guardians older than empires, tended by a species wise enough to partner with power rather than attempt to control it. The warnings had been clear. The Empire had refused to listen. And now, they were paying the price, not just in ships and lives lost, but in the shattering of their most fundamental belief, that the strong always conquered the weak. Some forces in the universe, it seemed, were beyond conquest. Some boundaries were not meant to be crossed. And some warnings, however cryptic, deserved to be heeded. Retriclad can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.